Maya sat in her beat-up Honda in a dark parking lot outside Rossini's warehouse. She gripped a .38 revolver in both trembling hands. The gun felt impossibly heavy. She was wearing a waitress uniform under a thin jacket, soaking wet from the rain. "You can do this. You can do this. He took everything. Everything," she whispered to herself. She checked the rearview mirror. 3 black cars pulled up to the warehouse entrance. Men in suits emerged. Lots of them. Maya had taken the gun from her ex-boyfriend's apartment 3 days ago. She'd planned this for weeks, waited for the right moment. The moment when Viktor Petrov, the man who destroyed her family, would be alone enough, vulnerable enough. What she didn't know was that her plan was about to get very complicated. Maya slipped inside the warehouse, staying low behind stacks of crates. Through a window, she saw him. Viktor Petrov, late 50s, silver hair, expensive suit. He was with 2 other men, looking at documents on a desk. "That's him," Maya whispered. She raised the gun. Her finger found the trigger. A figure rounded the corner, directly in front of Maya. Tall, dark suit, expensive watch. She'd never seen him before, but something in the way he moved told her he was dangerous. His name was Dante Russo. He stopped. He saw Maya. The gun. For one frozen second, neither of them moved. "What?" he started. Maya panicked. Pure animal panic. She pulled the trigger. The sound was deafening. The bullet tore through Dante's shoulder, spinning him back. He hit the ground hard. "Guards!" he gasped. Everything erupted into chaos, shouting. Running footsteps. Maya dropped the gun and ran. She ran like she was on fire. She hit the wrong man. But hitting Dante Russo was about to become the most expensive mistake of her life. 3 days later, Dante lay in a hospital bed. His entire right shoulder was bandaged. His left arm was in a sling, but his eyes were open. Dangerous. Calculating. His right hand, Marco, stood beside the bed. "We found her," Marco said. "Working at a diner in the South Side. Name's Maya Chen. No record. No connections to anyone we know. We don't know why she shot you. Find out," Dante said quietly. "She's downstairs, in custody." Maya sat at a cold metal table, handcuffed. She looked smaller than she was, exhausted, angry, defiant. The door opened. Dante walked in slowly. Even wounded, he commanded the room. He moved like a predator with a fresh wound. He sat across from her, said nothing, just studied her like she was a puzzle. The silence stretched for what felt like forever. "If you're going to kill me, just do it," Maya finally said. "Why did you shoot me?" Dante asked. "I was aiming for someone else. Bad luck for you." "Who?" "Does it matter?" "Very much." "Viktor Petrov," Maya said. "I was going to kill him. He destroyed my family. My father had a business, legitimate business. Viktor muscled in on it, took everything, used my dad's property to move product. When my dad went to the police, 2 weeks later, our entire house burned down with my parents inside. They called it an accident. Dante didn't move, didn't react. But something shifted behind his eyes. "You're telling me you broke into one of the most secure locations in the city, alone, with a handgun, to assassinate a man you knew nothing about?" "I knew enough. You knew he existed. That's not the same thing." He stood up, walked slowly around the table. She didn't follow him with her eyes. She stared straight ahead. "Viktor Petrov sold his operation to me 6 months ago. He's not in the city anymore. I don't know where he is, and I don't care. Which means your vendetta is dead." "Then we're done here?" Maya said. "We're not done." He leaned against the wall, studying her. "You shot me, in my own territory, in front of my men. Do you understand what that means? That I'm going to prison? That your life as you know it is over. The question is how." He crouched down to eye level with her. "I could kill you." "That's one option. Clean, simple. But you have no one, nothing. Your death would be nothing. A fact that happened and was forgotten. Or you could give me what you owe." "I don't have anything. You have your life, your time, your future. All of it belongs to me now." He stood up. You will marry me. Officially. Legally. A marriage license that's real. That's how you pay the debt. With everything you have left. You're insane. Is that a no? You want me to be your wife? As payment? What exactly do you think you're getting? She looked at him directly for the first time, and she laughed. Not nervously, not hysterically. She genuinely laughed. A traumatized woman who just tried to commit murder. A woman who has nothing. Literally nothing. You're the most powerful man in this city, and you just got shot by a waitress in a diner uniform. And now you want to marry her out of pride? That's pathetic. The guards tensed. They'd never heard anyone speak to Dante Russo like that. Dante didn't move, but something dangerous flickered in his eyes. You have 72 hours to decide. Marry me, and you live under my roof, under my protection, and the debt is paid. You'll have everything. Clothes, food, safety, a life better than you could imagine. Refuse, and I erase you from this city the same way I erase everything else that displeases me. Completely. He moved toward the door. Think carefully about your next words. I accept. The room went silent. Dante turned back. Why? Because I've got nothing left. And at least with you, I know exactly what I'm walking into. He stared at her for a long moment. No, you don't. You have no idea. He left. She'd just agreed to marry a man whose name she'd heard whispered in fear for years. The Mafia boss everyone said had no heart, no weakness, no capacity for mercy. And watching him leave, even wounded, moving with that quiet certainty, Maya had the unsettling feeling that she might have just made the biggest mistake of her already ruined life. 3 days later, they stood in City Hall. A small ceremony. Dante in a perfect black suit. Maya in a simple white dress, borrowed from somewhere. Too formal, not quite right. Marco as a witness. A bureaucrat performing the ritual. Do you take this woman? The official began. I do, Dante said. No hesitation. No doubt. Do you take this man? I do, Maya said. The words felt heavier coming from her mouth. You may kiss the bride. Dante leaned in. His kiss was controlled, professional, a formality completed. His lips were cold. And just like that, Maya Chen became Mrs. Dante Russo. She'd gone from being a waitress with nothing to being married to the most dangerous man she'd ever met. She had a feeling neither of them knew what came next. They arrived at the penthouse. It was breathtaking, all glass and marble and carefully curated emptiness. Art on the walls that probably cost more than Maya's entire life used to be worth. Dante showed her around. His shoulder still bothered him, but he didn't show it. This is your home now. You have access to every room except the study on the 3rd floor. That's off limits. Never go in there. Why? Because I said so. You'll have an allowance, clothes, anything you need. There's a chef who comes in the mornings. Staff arrives at 7. You won't be left alone. You're putting me under house arrest. I'm protecting my investment. I'm not an investment. I'm a person. That remains to be seen. He handed her a piece of paper. A list. House rules. Read them. Follow them. Violations have consequences. Maya read them. No leaving the building without permission. No phone calls without approval. No visitors. No, are you serious? No answering the door. You're my wife, not my guest. Discretion is essential. This isn't marriage. This is a prison. You're alive. That's the difference. He walked away. Maya stood in the most beautiful room she'd ever been in, feeling more trapped than she ever had. 48 hours later, Maya had settled in somewhat. She was wearing expensive clothes from the closet, things provided for her. She was in the living room, reading a book she found on the shelves. Dante came down from upstairs. He was loosening his tie. It was the first time she'd seen him outside of formal wear. He looked dangerous in a different way, more real. He was surprised to see her awake. You're still up. I'm bored. Your furniture is beautiful. Your books are pretentious. Your company is non-existent. What else should I be doing? You could sleep. Sleep's hard when you're married to a stranger who keeps you locked in a penthouse like you're a secret. You are a secret. He sat down across from her, not close, maintaining distance. My life doesn't allow for complications. A wife complicates things. Then why marry me? Because you shot me, and the only acceptable response in my world is to own you until the debt is satisfied. And when will it be satisfied? I haven't decided yet. Maya closed her book, looked at him directly. You know what I think? I'm certain you're going to tell me. I think you didn't have to marry me. You could have killed me. You could have let me go. But you married me because it amused you. Because nobody tells you no, and I shot you and walked in here and laughed in your face. I'm the first real challenge you've had in years. That's not. It is. I see it. You see it. So let's stop pretending this is about debt or payment or rules. Let's just be honest. You want honesty? I want something real, even if it's ugly. Dante stood up. He walked to the window, looked out at the city lights below. That list of rules. Tomorrow, you're going to break one. I don't think so. Yes, you will. Not because you're ignorant, because you're testing me. And I'm going to let you. Because I'm curious to see what you'll do. Why would you do that? Because I'm tired of people who follow rules out of fear. I want to see what you do when you have a choice. He walked toward the stairs. Don't disappoint me. He disappeared upstairs. Maya sat alone in that perfect room and realized something. Dante Russo wasn't a statue. He wasn't untouchable. He was lonely, genuinely lonely. And maybe, just maybe, that was a vulnerability she could exploit. The next morning, the chef, an older Italian woman named Rosa, was preparing breakfast. Maya wandered in, getting used to the space. Good morning, Signora. Dante never has breakfast. You want something? Eggs? Toast? Just coffee, please. He's different since you arrived. Less cold. It's good. He needed someone to thaw him out. He seems pretty cold to me. That's because you don't know him. I've cooked for him for 7 years. I see things. The way he looks when you're in the room. The way he moved faster last night when he heard you call out from downstairs. I called for you. I needed a towel. He got there before me. Rosa poured the coffee. He's a hard man, yes. But hard men are often just frightened men wearing better armor. Later that afternoon, Maya stood in front of the locked study door. The one room she wasn't supposed to enter. She looked down the hallway. No one there. The staff had left. Dante wasn't home. She pulled out her phone and called the number written on a card she'd found in the kitchen drawer. A locksmith. She was testing him. Just like he said she would. The lock clicked open. Inside, walls covered in photos, newspaper clippings, a face circled in red ink, Viktor Petrov, photos of meetings, transactions, crime scene photos, a detailed chronicle of corruption, and in the center, a photo of a young girl, 12 years old, dark eyes, serious expression. Underneath, Elena Russo, 2013 to 2025. Maya's blood went cold. Elena Russo was dead. And from the look of the room, Dante had spent years documenting the events that led to her death. Footsteps. Fast. Coming up the stairs. Maya ran. She closed the door and locked it from the outside using the phone. She moved toward the hallway just as Dante appeared at the top of the stairs. The staff told me you called a locksmith. I did. Did you go in the study? No. She was lying. Dante walked toward her, slowly, deliberately. He wasn't angry. He was worse. He was disappointed. Did you lie to me? Yes. At least she was honest about that. He was silent for a moment. Then he nodded, like she'd confirmed something he suspected. Come with me. They stood on the penthouse balcony, 50 stories up. The city spread out below like a circuit board of light and movement. Ask me why that room is off limits. Why is that room off limits? Because everyone I've ever cared about is documented in there. Everyone I failed to protect. Everyone I couldn't save. He didn't look at her. He looked out at the city. My sister, Elena. She was supposed to be untouchable. She was my sister. That was supposed to mean something. It didn't. Someone took her when she was 12. I found her 3 months later. I found the people responsible, and I made sure they understood that taking something from Dante Russo was a mistake. Victor. He was connected. Not directly involved, but connected. I've spent 10 years finding the threads of that connection, documenting everything. That's what's in that room. A map of everyone responsible. He finally looked at her. That room is my grief, my rage, my failure, and I don't let anyone in there because I don't want anyone to see what I am when I'm not performing the role of being in control. What are you? A man who's still trying to kill people who are already dead. A man so consumed by what he lost that he can't see what's in front of him. In that moment, Maya saw him. Not the Mafia boss, not the man in control, but a human being carrying a weight so heavy it had bent him into the shape he wore now. I'm sorry I went in the room. I'm sorry I lied about it. I know. I went in because you told me not to, because you wanted me to test you. And I needed to know if you actually meant it or if you were just playing some game with me. And what did you find out? That you're not playing any games. That everything about you is real, even when you wish it wasn't. Dante reached out. He didn't touch her. His hand hovered near her face. When you're this close to me, I forget why I married you as punishment. And that's a problem. He dropped his hand and walked back inside. Things were shifting. The lines between captor and captive were getting blurry, and neither of them knew how to navigate that. Over the next week, small moments added up. The kind of moments that redefine a relationship without either person acknowledging it. Dante came home and found Maya reading in the library. Instead of going to his study, he asked her what she was reading. She told him. He sat down. They talked for an hour. His shoulder was fully healed now. One morning, Maya saw him exercising on the balcony alone, thinking she was asleep. Later, when she hurt her ankle in the bathroom, he carried her to the couch without being asked. His hands were careful. Gentle. Rosa mentioned that Dante bought 3 new books from the list Maya left on the kitchen counter. He brought her flowers. Just once. White ones. He didn't explain why. He just left them on the table. Dante Russo wasn't good at kindness, but he was trying. And that was doing something to Maya that neither of them was prepared to admit. A proper dinner. Rosa had prepared something special. Dante wore a casual shirt for the first time at home. They sat across from each other at the dining table. You look different, Maya said. How? Softer. Less like you're waiting for someone to attack you. That might be because you're here. I don't have to wait for attacks. If anyone's going to shoot me, it's you. I might again, honestly. Depends on my mood. Fair. They ate in silence for a moment. Tell me something real about you. Not about Elena. Not about the business. Something actual. Dante put down his fork. Considered the question seriously. Architect. I wanted to design buildings, spaces where people lived. I liked the idea of creating places where ordinary people could build their lives. What happened? My father died. My mother was sick. Elena needed protection. The family business needed a leader. Architecture stopped mattering. Do you regret it? Every day. And also, not at all. I protected Elena as best I could. I provided for my family. I built an empire. Just not the kind I imagined when I was 12. He looked at her directly. Your turn. Tell me something real. I'm terrified of you, every single day. But not because of what you can do. Because of what it means that I'm not scared anymore. Because I'm starting to care about you. And that makes me vulnerable in ways I'm not equipped to handle. The silence that followed was the loudest thing either of them had ever heard. By the way, if you're watching this right now, I want to know, where are you watching from? Comment down below. Late that night, Maya couldn't sleep. She wandered downstairs and found Dante in the study. The door was open. He was sitting at a desk, looking at photos of Elena. You can come in. Are you sure? Yes. She entered. She sat next to him. She's beautiful. She was. She would have been 26 now. She wanted to be a teacher. She was always helping the other kids in the neighborhood with their homework. Tell me about her. And he did. He talked for 2 hours. About Elena. About the day she disappeared. About the day they found her, about the people he destroyed because of it. Maya listened. She didn't offer sympathy. She didn't offer forgiveness. She just listened, and by listening, she honored the weight of what he'd carried. When he finally stopped talking, the sun was starting to rise. I've never told anyone all of that. Not my therapist, not my closest men, not anyone. Thank you for telling me. Why? Because it means you trust me, and I needed to know that you could. Dante reached over and took her hand. It was a connection. Something fundamental had shifted between them. They were no longer captor and captive. They were two broken people learning how to stand next to each other without flinching. For the first time, Dante took Maya out of the penthouse. They went to a private art gallery. It was small, exclusive. She was seeing daylight, seeing the world. She was happy, genuinely happy, walking next to him, not held, not controlled. Actually, beside him, Dante noticed. He liked seeing her like this. Suddenly, a car pulled up. Men appeared. Professional. Dangerous. Marco appeared urgently. We need to go. Now, the Delgado family. They've made a move. They've taken 3 of our operations in the South District. But more importantly, they know about your wife. They're planning to use her as leverage. Dante's entire demeanor changed in an instant. The man who'd been learning to be gentle disappeared. What replaced him was something prehistoric. Something that knew only one response to threats: annihilation. They were moved to a secure location. Maya was put in a room with Marco stationed outside. She could hear Dante downstairs, on the phone, making calls. His voice, when he raised it, was something she'd never heard before. Cold, merciless. Promising death. I want every member of the Delgado family found, every associate, every connection, and I want them handled before sunset tomorrow. Hours passed. It got dark. Finally, Dante came into the room. He was still in the same clothes, but now they smelled like smoke and rain. There was blood not his on his shirt collar. What did you do? What was necessary? How many? Does it matter? Yes. It matters to me. 17. I personally killed 3. The others were handled by my men. All of them. Every single connection to anyone who touched the Delgado family. Completely erased. No one will ever use you as leverage again. No one will ever even know your name associated with me because everyone who might have had that information is dead. He sat down across from her. For the first time, he looked exhausted, truly exhausted. This is what I am. Not the man in the penthouse reading books and telling you about his childhood. This is the reality. I know. Do you? Because I've killed more people in the last 8 hours than you can imagine. I've orphaned children, widowed wives, destroyed families, and I did it without hesitation because you matter to me, and I can't have anything that matters to me being threatened. I understand. You don't. You think you do, but you don't. This is who I am. This is what loving me means. It means, why did you stop? What? You said you killed 3. Why stop? Why not kill them all yourself if you're this monster? Because I had to get to you. I had to make sure you were safe. You could have kept killing. It would have been faster than getting to me, but you didn't. You stopped because you needed to see me alive more than you needed to extract revenge yourself. That's a distinction without a difference. No, it's not. It's the difference between being a monster and being a man who does monstrous things because there's no other way to protect what he loves. She stood up and walked to him. She took his face in her hands and made him look at her. You're not the monster you think you are. You're just the only person who's ever been willing to do what needs to be done. And that's terrifying, and it's dark, and it's real, and I'm here for it. All of it. She kissed him. It was different from City Hall. It wasn't a formality. It was a choice. In the middle of a safe house, surrounded by the evidence of 17 deaths, they finally stopped pretending they were married as punishment. They were married because they'd chosen each other, despite everything, because of everything. 1 week later, they were back at the penthouse. Life was returning to normal, except it wasn't normal anymore. It was different, better, easier. They moved through the space like they owned it together, Rosa noticed. She smiled when she thought they weren't looking. The doorbell rang. Marco's voice came through the intercom. Your brother is here. With a guest. Dante's younger brother Vincenzo arrived. Mid-30s. Charming in a way Dante wasn't. He was with a woman, Sienna. Beautiful. The kind of beautiful that commanded a room. Brother, I wanted you to meet my new business partner. She's handling the European distribution for us. Sienna extended her hand to Dante. When she saw Maya, she did a subtle double take. So you're the wife everyone's talking about, the woman who shot Dante Russo. Just Dante is fine, Maya said. Nothing fine about it. It's legendary. She touched Dante's arm, casually, but deliberately. A statement. We should catch up, Dante. It's been years since we've talked. Really talked. And suddenly, Maya understood. Sienna and Dante had history. The kind of history that doesn't disappear just because you move on. I'm married now, Dante said. To her? That's surprising. I always thought when you finally settled down, it would be with someone prepared for everything you are. She's prepared. She is here, in the room. Standing right next to him, Maya said. Of course. My apologies, Sienna said, smiling sweetly. Later in the kitchen, Sienna had accidentally ended up alone with Maya. How long have you been married? Few weeks. That's the honeymoon period. Before you realize what he actually requires. Before you understand the cost of being his wife. Which is what? Invisibility, compliance, the death of everything you are outside of what serves him. That's not what this is. Of course it's not. Not yet. But give it time. Dante is a tsunami. He destroys everything in his path, even the people who love him. I'm just telling you that so you're not shocked when it happens. Did you love him? Sienna paused. Set down her coffee. Yes, very much. He was beautiful once, before everything hardened, before he became this. He's still beautiful. You think so now. That evening, Vincenzo and Sienna were leaving. As they went, Sienna touched Dante's face, not quite caressing it. Intimate enough that the gesture landed. Call me. We have things to discuss about the European situation. She left. Maya watched the entire exchange without reacting. But Dante knew something was wrong. Nothing happened between Sienna and me. It was years ago. And it's over. I didn't say anything. You didn't have to. I can feel it. The way you went quiet. The way you stopped looking at me. She was right. About the cost. About what this does to you. I saw it when she was talking to you. I saw you slip into something harder. Something that doesn't include me. That's not. You looked at her the way you look at problems. Like she's something to solve. To own. To control. I looked at her the way I've trained myself to look at everything. But that's not how I look at you. You're not a problem. You're not something I'm solving. Then how do you look at me? Dante didn't answer with words. He pulled her close. He kissed her like he was afraid she'd disappear. Like she was the only real thing in his world. Like you're everything. Like losing you would destroy me in ways I've already been destroyed and don't have the strength to recover from. That's a lot of power to give one person. I know. That's why it terrifies me. For the first time, Dante Russo had let someone see his vulnerability, and he was right to be terrified, because Maya could ruin him. She was the only person on Earth who actually could. 3 days later, everything shifted. Marco came to Dante with information. There was a leak. Someone in their organization had been feeding information to a rival family. Names, locations, operations. That evening, Dante didn't come home. He was gone for 18 hours. When he finally arrived, his expression was unreadable. Pack a bag. Everything essential. You have 30 minutes. What? Why? There's been a betrayal. In the organization. Someone I trusted completely. Who? It doesn't matter. What matters is, we need to leave the city. Tonight. We have a property upstate. We'll be there until I can stabilize the situation. Dante, what happened? I said 30 minutes. He was closed off. Completely. The wall was back up. Thicker than ever. Maya packed. They left. They arrived at a sprawling estate in the mountains. Beautiful but isolated. That night, Maya found Dante on the balcony, looking out at darkness. Tell me what happened. No, Dante. You wanted to know what the cost was. You asked Sienna. Well, this is it. This is what it looks like when everything falls apart. When the people you trust most betray you. When you have to make impossible choices. Let me help you. You can't help me. You can only be protected by me. That's the arrangement. That's always been the arrangement. No, it hasn't. We moved past that. We moved past captor and captive. We moved past punishment. We moved into something real. Real is a luxury I can't afford. Not now. He walked away from her. Maya had known this was coming. She'd known the moment she saw him look at Sienna, that the real world would catch up with them eventually. That the walls would go back up, that he would choose his empire over her. But knowing it was coming didn't make it hurt any less. The next morning, Marco arrived. He looked shaken. That's when Maya knew it was bad. It was Alessio. He'd been taking bribes from the Montero family for months. We found evidence in his apartment. Records, names. Is he alive? Dante asked. Not anymore. Maya watched Dante absorb this. Alessio was loyal. Alessio had been there for years, and Dante had killed him. Go back to the city. I want every operation audited, every person vetted. I want to know who else has been compromised. Marco left. Dante didn't look at Maya. Alessio. Maya said, Yes, you killed him. He betrayed me, but he was loyal for years. He must have had a reason. He must have. There is no reason that justifies betrayal. There is no explanation that makes it acceptable. You betray me, you die. That's the law of this world. Is that what I am to you? Someone who will die if I betray you? Don't be dramatic. I'm not. I'm asking if we're built on that same foundation. If the only thing keeping me alive is my utility to you. Dante finally looked at her. You know that's not true, do I? Because from where I'm standing, it seems like the moment I became an inconvenience, or a liability, or a reason you hesitated, I'd be gone, just like Alessio, just like anyone else. You could never be like Alessio. Why not? What makes me different? He didn't answer. That was the answer. I need to go. I can't be here anymore. You're not leaving. And if I try, then I'll stop you. By any means necessary. There it is. The real answer. I'm not here because you love me. I'm here because you own me. And as long as you own me, you control me. That's not fair. None of this is fair. But I kept hoping that maybe, at the end of all this, you'd actually chosen me. Not because you needed to own me, not because I shot you and you had to prove you were still in control, but because you actually loved me. I do love you, but you don't trust me. And you never will. Because loving someone and trusting them are different things. And you're not capable of trust anymore. You were broken too many times. And in that moment, Dante understood the truth. He'd spent so long protecting himself that he'd forgotten how to be open to anyone, even the one person who'd changed everything. He'd built walls to survive, and those walls had calcified. They were permanent now. Maya was in a bedroom, having been given explicit instruction not to leave. There was a guard outside the door. She was trapped in a beautiful prison again. She sat on the bed and cried. Not dramatically, but thoroughly. The kind of crying that comes from deep loss. Hours passed. The door opened. Dante stood there. His suit jacket was gone. His shirt was unbuttoned. He looked like he hadn't slept, like he'd been pacing, like he'd been fighting with something inside himself. I killed Alessio in anger, not in justice. In anger. He sat on the bed, not next to her, at the foot, and that scared me, because I've spent my entire life making sure I never make decisions in anger. That's how people die. That's how empires fall. But I did it because I was terrified. Because if Alessio could betray me, if someone I trusted could do that, then maybe you could too. And the thought of that, of losing you, it made me lose control. So you reasserted control over everything else, over me. Yes, I made you a prisoner, Because I was a prisoner. I locked you down because I was locked down. He finally looked at her. Elena was the last person I loved completely, and when I lost her, I decided I would never be vulnerable like that again. I would build an empire. I would accumulate power. I would become untouchable so that nothing could ever touch me the way that did. And then I shot you. And then you shot me. And you laughed at me. And you told me the truth when everyone else lies. And you made me want to be something other than what I've become. And I hated it. I hated that I wanted to change. I hated that you made me want to be better. Because being better means being vulnerable again. It means risking everything. So what are you saying? I'm saying the gate is open, the door to your room. There are no guards anymore. Your phone is on the table. It's not monitored. There's money in the drawer, enough to disappear, to start over, to never see me again. Are you setting me free? Yes, completely. The debt is paid. The marriage is real, but only if you stay. And if you don't want to stay, I will never come after you. I will let you go, and I will wish you every happiness you deserve. And I will spend the rest of my life knowing that I let the only real thing I ever had slip through my fingers. He stood up. I don't expect you to stay, but if you do, I promise you something. I will spend every day of the rest of my life proving that I can be trusted with your heart, not because I have to, but because I want to. Because loving you is the only real thing I've done in years. He walked toward the door, and here was the moment. The real moment. Not the shooting. Not the marriage. Not the revelation of his grief. This moment where Dante Russo let someone choose him, without chains, without consequences, without anything but hope. Maya woke up in the bed, alone. She looked at the phone on the table, the money in the drawer, the open door. She could leave. She had every reason to leave. A fresh start, a new name. A life away from all of this. She got up, she showered, she dressed, she walked downstairs. Dante was in the dining room, having coffee. He wasn't looking at her. He was giving her the space to decide. 3 months ago, Maya Chen was a waitress with nothing. She'd tried to commit murder. She'd ended up married to a Mafia boss. And through it all, she'd kept her edges sharp. She'd kept herself separate, protected. But standing in that dining room, looking at a man who'd finally let himself be vulnerable, Maya made a choice. She sat down across from him. I have conditions. Dante looked up. What are they? First, I get to work. I need something that's mine, something that has nothing to do with your empire or your money, just mine. Okay. Second, I need honesty, real honesty. Even when it's ugly, even when it hurts. No more walls, no more disappearing into the business when things get difficult. I'll try. You'll do more than try. You'll do it. Okay. And third, if you ever try to cage me again, if you ever choose control over trust, I will leave, and you will not come after me. We're clear? Crystal clear. She stood up. She moved around the table. She sat on his lap, not asking permission, just doing it. I'm staying. Why? Because underneath all of this, underneath all the walls and the armor and the violence, there's a man who wanted to be an architect, a man who reads books, a man who brings flowers even though he doesn't know why, a man who's terrified that he's broken beyond repair, and that man is worth staying for. She kissed him, not City Hall, not the safe house. This was the real kiss. 6 months later, the story was different. Maya had opened a youth center in the city, helping kids from broken homes, kids without parents, kids with nothing. It was funded by Dante's money, but it was hers, completely hers. Dante still ran his empire. He still made hard choices. He still sometimes disappeared into the darkness that had shaped him, but he came home. Every single night, he came home to her, and she waited for him, not because she had to, but because she chose to. The woman who'd shot the Mafia boss out of revenge had learned something she didn't know when they started. Love isn't about being caged, it's about being chosen. Again and again, in the light and in the darkness, even when it's hard, especially when it's hard. And for the first time in his life, Dante Russo knew what it meant to be chosen. 1 year later, on the penthouse balcony, the same view they'd always had, Maya and Dante stood together. She was wearing a gold band beside her wedding ring. They weren't talking, just existing, just being. Do you ever regret it? Staying? Every single day? What? I regret not doing it sooner. I regret the time we wasted. But staying? Never. He took her hand. I never thanked you. For what? For giving me permission to be human again. You didn't need my permission. You just needed to give yourself one. The sun set over the city below, and in the growing darkness, two people who'd found each other in violence and chaos had built something that looked like peace. It wasn't perfect, but it was real. And real was enough. That's the story. If you made it this far, you already know this was incredible. If you felt something watching this, if Dante and Maya's story got to you, then you know what to do. Drop a like. It takes 1 second, and it helps so much. And if you're not subscribed yet, hit that subscribe button. More stories like this are coming, and you won't want to miss them. Trust me. So like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.